Welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook and official sports betting partner of the NFL. DraftKings has you covered with a promo this week, betting just $5 on any NFL game to win their game. If they do, you're going to get $200 in free bets when you sign up using the code PHNX. Happy National Tight Ends Day to both of you.
7-0.
Happy National Tight End Day.
Yeah.
If you have tight butt cheeks,
That's one way
to interpret it.
like tight ends.
She slapped me on the butt this morning when I was leaving the house. She said, "Hey, National Tight End Day, baby." I was like, "Oh, cool."
I didn't get that. I didn't get that slap or that memo. That's some
Chierstin
bullshit.
did not see this coming at all.
National
and Frank
Tight
and I
End?
did not plan this out at all.
So obviously the Cardinals, not going to overlook any opponent, but that's not the case for me because as soon as I got their issues sorted out at the beginning of this one, I just sort of went on autopilot and was like, all right, just take care of business. You got this, on to the next.
Yeah. Shout out to Espo, who's the only guy that I know out there that didn't believe in the Cardinals for covering the spread. That was an easy game for the Cardinals outside of the first quarter. And I feel like they didn't come out ready to go as efficiently as they should have, and it almost caused a big problem when you saw Kyler get a little dinged up and he had to go to the tent. But luckily, everything went according to plan, and they covered the spread, more than covered the spread. Efficient, non-worthy day, really. That's the way I would put it. It's just nothing spectacular to talk about outside of one Mr. Zach Ertz, which I thought was pretty cool today.
Welcome to Arizona, Zach Ertz.
I know, right? A game that could have got really ugly. And to me, this is the game that is the toughest game they faced all year, because it was a wounded dog that came in here that you already know that wasn't a really good team. Mm-hmm. And so it's easy to get up for the Rams. It's easy to get up for the 49ers. It's hard to get up for a team that that's struggling really bad, that you should dominate, that they've already put up that much points. We talk about leadership all the time, who's going to take ownership, who's going to come and argue, Cliff's on the sideline. And I think that's something where a team that's 6-0 could have easily, if the first quarter would have kept going the way it was looking and the players were getting dominated, like how it was looking, this game could have got ugly pretty fast. But that's the beauty of having leadership and having better players that can go out and change the whole conversation of the next three quarters. And that's exactly what they was able to do. They took control of the game by the time the second quarter happened, and they just started dominating the rest of the way. That's again, leadership and just having better players. But honestly, the Texans came to play. They wanted to be upset. They wanted to upset the Cardinals. They just don't have enough weapons to do that. Home
game, non-division opponent, really lackluster roster on the other side. It is hard to get up for those games. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether you're 6-0 or not, like it is just, it's human nature would tell you like, we should have this in the bag. But luckily, the Cardinals are good enough talent-wise to be able to overcome and kind of get themselves going enough to be able to just. And
because that takes emotional maturity too. For sure.
You see what Brandon Buckingham just said?
Scorigami, we were just talking about that. So what, the 31-5 has never been a final score in an NFL game?
Ever.
Correct.
There you go.
It's pretty crazy.
That's a fun fact. While we're at fun facts, Zach Ertz a part of two, and he is our DraftKings Sportsbook king of the game. He had 3 receptions for 66 yards and
Zach
a
Ertz.
Touchdown.
Where's that king of the game graphic?
Where's that king of the game
Sleeping
graphic?
over there, Leah. I literally was looking at her. I was like, are you going to pull that up or what? Eric, stop bugging her. She has the graphic already. Stop.
Zach Ertz, again, 3 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. That included the longest touchdown of his career. And he's also, according to the Twitter machine, the first player to ever score a touchdown for 2 different teams in back-to-back weeks.
Well, not only that, but he also broke a own personal record by having his longest touchdown.
So I just said
that. Oh, man.
I
was distracted by Leah. I'm sorry.
He scored.
So sorry.
Damn it. He scored the longest touchdown of his career, and then also, and you're like,
I was looking for the visual cues, and you were like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, oh, this is when I knew I fucked up. I'm sorry. My bad. I will pay attention now.
When your own teammates don't pay any attention to what you're saying.
It's bad. It's bad. Really, really bad.
That's just the kind of day that it was. I had trouble paying attention to the game. And I'll be like the first to admit it. I was like telling you, I'm like, man, I can't focus in on this game. It was just that kind of day.
I learned so much about Chierstin today. It's been fascinating. It's been a fun day. And just I didn't even know half of the stuff that went on in the game. It was just we were just talking the whole game. Like,
because the thing is cool. I also had an energy drink. I was like ready to be like dialed in on the game. I wasn't. So instead, you got to hear me chat for like 2 hours.
I did.
Good time.
It was good times. It was good times.
Good win by the Cardinals. 7-0. Look, there's so many beautiful things right now that's happening in the Valley, especially when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals, what they're doing. The fan support, what's happening with the organization, to have the amount of talent. This might have been the most talented roster that the Arizona Cardinals have ever produced on the football field. Kudos to Mike Bidwell, Steve Kimes, and just maturation of the guys, because in true fairness, it's never looked this easy with the intent to think that we just can go out and dominate a team. And I'm really, really, I know the fans, man, y'all deserve this. I was here 1995 to 2002. There's a lot of tough years you guys endured, and just to watch the Red Sea, to watch how much they're supporting, to watch the Bird Gang, how these guys have just built this great base and how much they still love on their teams. Now you're getting rewarded, and it's special to see it, because it's almost like you're waiting for something to happen bad, because it has always happened and you've never really been here. But I think we have just so much more talent, and the team right now is so well put together with leadership and youth, and it just looks really, really good.
Speaking of that fan base, we are in tune with the fan base, because I saw a whole lot of signs out there that were quoting J.J. Watt. Maybe we're just better, but we rolled out a brand new shirt, PHNXlocker.com.
Yo, fire. Dude, first of all, right off the bat, we dropped this at halftime. It is already one of our best sellers, period, of like ever, which is tremendous. We all saw the viral video that went out. Hit the sounder. There it is. Maybe we're just better. Maybe we're just effing better. I already used my 2 F words for the day earlier. So, this is an awesome shirt. You should go out and get it, because it is flying off the digital racks as we speak.
That's like the quote of the century.
Yeah. For a team that's been getting crapped on, stop crapping on us, man. Stop giving us the bull, treating us like we're nobodies, and we're out here just really pounding people and beating teams, really, really, really good teams. Like I told Saul today, man, look, I thank God we played the Titans early, because the way they're playing football right now, no one really wants to face that team, especially with Derrick Henry rolling, and the defense is doing absolutely fabulous. So I'm glad exactly where we are. The teams we've actually beat and dominated, it's definitely showing. And again, there's so much to say that is good about what we're doing. The crazy part about it is we're still leaving so many plays on the field. Kyler's still deciding to bounce outside of the pocket instead of stepping up in the pocket.
If there was like one thing where it's like, what in the heck is going on?
That is the part that he has to figure that out, that you don't always have to bounce outside the pocket. You can actually still step up in the pocket. So if I'm going to have a negative about the game, it was this way we started, but it's to be expected only because, this team has so much more talent, they can overcome it.
Well, the offensive line did struggle a little bit. I think Max
Texans
Garcia is still settling into that center position. At the end of the day, I mean, just one botched snap didn't change the course of the game. And then I think Josh Jones struggled a little bit too. That allowed some hits on Kyler that he probably would have liked back. But
going back to Frank's point and your point as well, is like when we pointed it out. When we watched one of Kyler drop back to pass and then didn't realize there was another rush coming from behind him, and he turned right into it and got smacked onto the side of his head. Those are the things that'll get you injured, because when you're least prepared to get hit, that's the one that's going to cause injury. And the worst part about it was there was an open pocket in front of him. If he would have just stepped up, he had tons of room in front of him. But for whatever reason, he's choosing to bail out backwards, and that he's going to have to stop. He's going to have to stop that, because if he doesn't stop that, it's going to lead to some catastrophic things down the road, and we certainly don't want that. So, there's a lot of plays left out there, as you said, Frank.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of plays. Zach Ertz is going to cover up a lot of those things, which is nice. But even DeAndre Hopkins, he was open several times, wide open several times, and Kyler just couldn't find him early enough, or couldn't make an accurate enough pass to get him the ball.
Credit to their defensive line. They brought the pressure.
They did.
All in all, Kyler was sacked 4 times for a loss of 36 yards, but he was hit like a bunch of other times. He was under pressure all game, and probably a little frustrated with that too. I mean, overall it was a great game, but if there was it was the battle up front that was really interesting. I'm not sure what happened with Cardinals offensive line and what happened with the Texans defensive line that all of a sudden shocked the world, especially with the way that they started. But you got to give credit to them.
They came to work. They said, the head coach Cully is just he's a guy that knows how to create game plans, even if he doesn't have all the pieces. The guys came to work today, and they knew in their mindset the only way to beat the Cardinals is you have to prove that you can get to the quarterback. And their front four came out to us very, very well. They did a lot of tackle in stunts. They moved the pocket from various areas to try to disrupt Kyler. They honestly just whooped our offensive line's ass. Honestly, they whooped our offensive line's butt the entire day. But there was several plays that was made that just gave him, several times they showed up the block. They did what they're supposed to do. Kyler made the right throw at the right time, and therefore, we end up making more plays down the field. But the Texans came to work today. Defensive line did, at least. And look, I saw Green Bay play earlier today, and they did the exact same thing against Washington. Their front four got busy. They got hungry. They got ready to go to work. And again, that was something that if there's a weakness on our team right now, it's our offensive line. And again, the only reason that's why is because some of our guys are hurt. And so if they can come back, that might change the narrative. We just got a couple guys on the offensive line that's banged up. And
Ronnie Hudson placed on IR. This would have been the second game that he's missed. And so one more week for sure without him. But hopefully this upcoming week we'll get more of a gauge on whether or not we can expect him to return after that, or what's going on with him. But for sure they've done. Max Garcia has done well in his place, but I think they definitely missed their leader at that center position. Something that stood out to me, 1, 2, 3, 4. The Cardinals had 4 receivers with 50 or more receiving yards in this game, spreading the wealth, and I love that. I mean, there really is, I think Zach Ertz was asked this question the first time he spoke with reporters earlier in the week, are there enough balls to go around? And his response was, that's not what's important to me. I want to win a Super Bowl, but there really, for some wild reason, there are enough balls to go around, and I love it.
Every receiver we have can create his own space. Yes. He can create his own space. He can get open. We literally have 5, and I'll add Chase Edmonds in this package that can really get open and create space versus the defender that's trying to cover him, which makes it only that much better. I will say this here. Maybe Kyler, because you can't see it on the TV copy when we're watching it, but maybe Kyler's waiting for one guy so he can get the ball to that guy because he believes that guy can beat that guy. So maybe he's holding it a second longer because it's specific to that guy. But we see players with guys open, right? They're open all the time. There's somebody open on the field. But that's the part of where Kyler has to make that decision. Our receivers are so talented. I mean, really, really freaking talented. They do everything well in regards to being a receiver. They can get in and out of cuts. They run various routes. They don't get jammed at the line. They have the opposing defenders afraid of us, and that's a good place to be. And again, it just through 4 quarters of a football out of a team that's going to throw the ball probably about 40 times. We're averaging probably 40 times a game. Yeah. You got to see that there's more. You can get 5 to him, 4 to him, 7 to him, and maybe count 7 passes that might be just be missed or targets overthrown or just not completed. But he's been pretty solid.
You had a couple observations about Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I did.
I thought were very poignant, especially as a receiver yourself in the NFL. You were talking about him kind of looking like he was hesitant to play over the middle because you're noticing some things that he's doing with his head.
So we've been noticing him drop balls in the middle of the field primarily. And, of course, I mean, he's moving in different areas consistently. And I said poignantly, I think he needs to call Larry. And he needs to talk to Larry about how to literally dominate that inside slot area. I play slot most of the time.
Why doesn't he call you?
Well, I mean, he can holler at your boy. What's the PHNX hotline?
You used to play in the slot. Why does he call you? Why don't you give him your number?
It's 1-800 call Frank.
Yeah, 1-800 call. But I just think there's some things where, that the middle of the field is not easy because you got a lot of people doing a bunch of stuff. And you have defenders that are sliding and moving and rotating. And when you naturally hike the ball, they're not exactly where they say they're going to be. Like the safety normally looks like a cover 2. Then he's moving across the field and he's not where he's at. Well, guess what? I've been noticing it seem like he's peaking. So if the ball is being thrown to me this way and Kyler's coming that way and Chierstin's my safety, I can see him do this. And he's trying to see how to position or catch and look. And that's peaking. We call that peaking, which causes you to kind of get tense and alligator arms. And sometimes you're just not flowing and catching. You never saw that out of Larry because it's just, I know where you're at. I know how much time I got. And that's just where we are. We're 7-0, but these little things start adding up when you get past these next couple of phases. We said it before that when the season starts, the bullseye, there's no bullseye on you right now. It's just a big target. And the goal is to get to the Super Bowl and try to do this. And then you realize you're starting to be freaking good. And then teams start realizing, you become the bullseye of everyone's, right now on their schedule. So they're looking at you as the one they want to knock off. Well, Christian has a couple of things he needs to figure out in that slot position. It's not an easy position if you're not confident in your defensive reads. And sometimes that's just what it looks like to me. And I hope he gets that. He'll get better, but I think he just needs to have someone tell him how to relax in that area so he'll make more of his catches.
Christian Kirk was a part of a series of plays that I felt really was the turning point in this game. It started out with Byron Murphy getting a taunting call, and it allowed the
I still am angry over that because I saw it happening. I was like, why, bro? Like, why?
Yeah. It allowed the Texans to have a new lease on life, and they looked as though they were going to have the opportunity to score. And then Marcus Golden comes up with a strip sack, erases the mistake, says, I got you, man. Mm-hmm. And the Cardinals turn around. Kyler throws a bomb 41 yards to A.J. Green and then hits Christian Kirk a few plays later to score. And I felt like that was exemplary of exactly what this Cardinals team is able to do. They're able to play complementary football. They make a mistake. All right, we're going to keep it together. They're not going to continue to shoot themselves in the foot. And so Marcus Golden he's been playing phenomenally. Yes. Love the guy.
He's been
great personality. I mean, just a guy you want to root for. And he's a dog out there. So it was make a mistake. All right, we're going to make up for that. Force a turnover. And by the way, the Cardinals they have the most 62 points off turnovers, which is the most in the league this season. So they are phenomenal in that regard, which is why I said it's exemplary of the type of team that they are. But I felt like that was the turning point in the game, really.
Yeah, for sure, because you gave the Texans a little lease on life, as you put it. And listen, it was a boneheaded mistake. There was no reason. The thing the ref is always going to call is when you make a tackle, cool. Even if you tackle and then you get up and you kind of talk a little trash before you leave, cool. But my man made the tackle and then got up and ran over to the guy and made physical contact with his helmet, said something, and it was a quick chirp and then ran off. And it just looks bad. The ref is going to throw that 1,000,000%. So, hey, luckily Marcus Golden, who's been balling out of his mind the last couple of weeks, I think he might be he's up there near the top of the sack list if he's not tied for it.
He's tied with Chandler with 5 sacks.
So Marcus has been a little bit more consistent in the sack area than Chandler this season, considering Chandler's only had one game where he had 5 sacks and hasn't had anything else. So it's pretty easy to see that. So I've loved everything I've seen from Marcus and this defense. They played solid today. Davis Mills, he's just another Run-of-the-mill quarterback, really, but we don't have a run-of-the-mill quarterback coming into State Farm this Thursday. That is for damn sure. So I want to see this performance carry forward.
We definitely are. Our defensive line is special. I go back and I continually watch. Like, if you're watching a defensive line and you're normally watching guys put their hands in the ground and it just look like there's 4 guys that's lined up. Well, the only person that got his hand in the ground is JJ. And everyone else is standing up and moving around. And you got guys in these 3-4s and walking up in the slot position. Vance Joseph is doing an excellent job of just rearranging or adding a bunch of misfits in these pieces of actual players in regards to JJ. And Chandler's not there yet, but we still got guys that and Marcus, and then we're adding Zane Collin walks up, then somebody else walks up, then Hicks walks up, and it's just safety walks up, Buda Baker walks up, and they walk, and everybody's running out. The game planning that's taking place right now is absolutely fabulous. I said it on both.
And they're missing pieces up front too.
And that's the crazy
Jordan
part.
Phillips is up front.
That's the part that's crazy right now.
His first game at State Farm Stadium since the Hail Murray.
Look, this is a pretty good team, and yes, we're just that good or better. We're just that effing better. Like, they just. It's good to see, and I'm excited about where we are. Vance Joseph is calling. He's game planning teams very well. Look, we thought this could have been a blowout with a 40 burger, maybe scoring 40 plus points. We didn't even run some of the receiver sets that we ran versus Frank. Who was the last team we just played? I just forgot.
The Browns.
The Browns. I apologize.
Did you just call me Frank?
No, I was talking to myself. I had a brain fart.
That would be something.
My bad, folks. I had a brain fart. But there's so many. Like, we ran 12 personnel. We ran 2 tights today, which we didn't run versus the Browns. Of course, we didn't have Max.
You wouldn't have, but
we wouldn't have. But that's the part though where we ran 4 receivers, 3 receivers, 4x1 sets, 3x1 sets, 2x2 sets, 2 in the backfield, motion slides. We did none of that today. And it looked like we tried to make it physical versus a team so we can get ready for another team that we might be physical against. You talk about these games that we say, well, the Texans come at a right time because we're getting ready to play Green Bay. So what kind of game plan are we going to show Green Bay? Well, we showed today, and our running game was absolute. They closed out this game. Like, it was our running game that closed out this game. It wasn't our passing game. Yeah. And that's the beautiful part where you can show what we have and what kind of talent we got. This is a really, really
that's 3 games
talented team. Right.
3 games in a row where the running game has just shut it down.
I mean, that's the beauty of it.
Against the 49ers, they did the same thing.
Yep.
Against the Browns, they did the same thing. And this week they've done it. A tremendous job. And like you said, the Packers are coming into town, which, by the way, with our partnership with Bird Gang Travel, please take a look. We have this tailgate event. It is It is popping off already. We've sold a lot of tickets for this event already. So if you want to come hang out in the pregame show before you go to the game, or if you just want to come to the event itself, you get beer the entire time between 2 and 5, plus a buffet. Like, it's going to be lit.
A buffet.
Oh yeah, a buffet. Food and drink.
I'm coming home
2 to 5
and thirsty.
Come and get yours now. The link is in the chat if you want to try and secure your spot. But we'll be there for the pregame show, and we will be there for the postgame show. The whole 9 yards. You can come meet Frank. Take your selfie or your Snapchat with them, whatever.
With
you
the 3,
do.
with
Take
all
your
of us.
Snapchat with them.
Yeah, whatever you got to do. Look, man,
you keep your Snap streak
no
alive with
breakfast
Frank
on
if you want
Thursday.
to.
No breakfast on Thursday.
See, I know about that. Snap streaks. You guys know about Snap streaks?
No.
Oh yeah, Snap streaks.
Oh, Oh, okay, yeah. I don't really use Snapchat anymore. Yeah, when you're like, like you and I have been like snapping back and forth for like, okay, I know what that is.
Like my son had an 857 day streak, and I was like, oh my goodness.
That used to be a thing. Like when you would like start dating somebody, it'd be like, ooh, we're on this like 20-day streak now.
I never made it.
No, we was talking.
Oh, Leah knows. Leah knows.
2 days and it was out for me. Usually the girls are like, nah, I'm good. So.
Frank, what you drinking? That juice?
He's got Grandpa's cough medicine.
Grandpa's cough medicine right here, y'all. After a victory, you got to celebrate some kind of way.
There you go.
We didn't even talk about this, but Cliff Kingsbury, last minute on the sidelines. I can't I just can't credit this coaching staff enough for what they've been able to do in back-to-back games with adversity. I know they were downplaying it this week of like, it's still Cliff's game plan. Everything's virtual. We're used to having things virtually because of COVID. So this isn't new to us, but I still can't tip my cap enough to Vance Joseph, to Cliff Kingsbury, and to the supporting staff for what they've been able to do.
It was tough. It's a tough ordeal, but and even to throw Cliff back in the fold today, I assume that they kind of relatively went with the same game plan as last week in terms of who was going to call the plays, how things were going to be managed, and then all of a sudden Cliff is ready to go, and you kind of go back to the old playbook of how things fall. So
they knew they were planning for both ahead of time, so they knew like there was a chance that like even up to Sunday morning, like Cliff could still come back. Mm-hmm. So they had a plan in place, which was last week's plan. What is everyone laughing at?
Peter back said, "I will never get over Frank drinking the blood of his enemies live on stream."
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well,
that needs to be a segment. Frank drinking the blood of his enemies.
Apparently, this is Game of Thrones, and Khaleesi has come back to Westeros. So there you go.
I love it a lot. Woo, Jesus. Oh my goodness. Look, this is a well put together staff and team across the board. What they're able to do, how they're able to communicate and facilitate this team. It does. I mean, the leadership is a factor. Having the caliber of players that we have is a factor. But to have your coaches be on one accord, that's special. Like, that's really, really special. Look, I was here with Buddy Ryan, and our coaches was not on one accord at all. At all. I was here with, they was not on one accord at all. Offense was offense, defense was defense. Buddy Ryan was the head coach of the defense, and all he told the offense was make sure you don't F this game up because we'll win it. That's how Buddy thought. Make sure the offense don't F the game up because we'll win it. So, and in truth, that's
what he meant by make sure Frank doesn't mess it up.
No. Frank was, look, but I had to earn Buddy's respect before he ever called me Frank. I was number 81 I was 81 from rookie camp, mini camp, through training camp, and by the time the second preseason game, before he ever called me Frank. Before he even acknowledged my name.
Damn,
and I was 81. His top pick. So, yeah, because he just was like, look, the 81's having a decent practice. 81's okay. And that's how it was said. So, but once I earned his respect, it was like, okay, Frank. And he knew he had two bookends with me and Rob. And he was like, okay. And he knew that. Once he knew he had that, then the offense, we could do what we want to do. But he just told our offense, don't F it up during the game. So, but this staff we have right now is pretty unique and special to be on one accord the way they are. And I'm pretty sure they're having a lot of fun. Winning is fun.
Always.
Like, winning is fun. Like, really, really fun in the NFL. Like I said, you don't feel as bad about dropping your kids off in the line. You don't mind going to the grocery stores when you're going to your bars or your local pub brews where you go and chill at. Hey, what's happening? Hey,
you don't
Frank,
mind being seen, yeah.
No, you don't mind being seen. Hey, you know what? You take your trash to the side of the road. Your neighbor's out there waiting on you. Hey, Frank, how you doing? Hey, what's happening? How you doing? Great win, man. That's great. When you lose.
You know who else doesn't mind when he's seen?
Sucks.
That's Jonny. And we are seeing him right now
on
the field out at State Farm Stadium. Hey, Jonny.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Jane, how we doing?
Why does that seem forced?
Doing very good. What's up, brother?
So
how we doing?
You don't even want to be here with us, man.
Oh, doing fine. Just got done listening to head coach Cliff Kingsbury talk for the first time in public since I think was 2 Thursdays ago. Chierstin, if you can remember. So Friday? Yeah. Two Fridays ago. Said he was cleared this morning at 6:30 a.m., was the most disconnected he felt for a game plan coming into a week. I think even more so than last week. And I think it showed a little bit in that first quarter of today's game.
No, absolutely. Jonny, from the press box view, again, one of the things that I'm going to continue to harp on until we see a little bit more efficiency from Kyler Murray was is just the amount of plays that are out there. There was one situation, as I mentioned earlier, where he rolled out from a sack, didn't see the pressure coming up from behind him, and he got smoked. And it looked like, wow, this, luckily he got up from it, but, those are the types of hits that sometimes quarterbacks don't get up from. When he had the pocket in front of him to step up into, that was the frustrating part. From your point of view, what are you seeing from Kyler? How did he perform today in your estimation?
Yeah, his awareness was not as sharp as it has been historically this season. Now, I will say the offensive line, specifically the interior, did not have their best game. Max Garcia, the snap over the head, he was a little bit inconsistent from a pass blocking standpoint. And then you look at right guard Josh Jones. I mean, his job may be in jeopardy. He's had consecutive performances where he has not played well. That interior pressure has always been more critical on Kyler Murray and his ability to make plays, even more so than what he gets from edge rushers and his tackle pressure, because then he can elude. But today, that interior pressure was prevalent, especially in the first quarter. The offensive line did not do a good job, and I think, Saul, to your point, that left him a little bit rattled. And when he gets rattled, he's more likely to make mistakes, run into some sacks, right? He tried to take off, more times than not when he had opportunities to throw the football downfield. It almost felt like, and I tweeted this out, it felt like today he was staunchly committed on scoring a touchdown with his legs. Like, it had been so long, he wanted to go and strike that Baby Yoda pose. They ran a lot of RPOs with him keeping the ball, which I thought was strange considering that both Chase Edmonds and James Conner were super effective on the ground. The passing game, and specifically in the intermediate passing game, it's like 7-on-7 at times. So I think it's a combination of, Kyler could probably play a little bit better. His head coach was back calling plays after missing what equates to the entire week. And the offensive line against a defensive line for Houston that's, let's face it, is relatively average, didn't play particularly well. Going into this game, the defense, exceeded my expectations, not giving up a touchdown. The offense, to me, it's like when you're a 20-plus point favorite and you've got the Green Bay Packers who are 6-1 coming into your building in a mere, 5 days, that's hard not to overlook. And it felt like with the Cardinals and Murray, it took a couple quarters to get rolling.
Did Cliff give any more information as to what his week looked like? If it was a scramble to all of a sudden he's going to be back on the field? Was it chaotic, or last week it was chaotic, this week was nothing compared to it?
I think last week was a little bit more normalized just because he was there with the team at the facility for 80% of the week. He just didn't travel with the team, right? The final preparation, he was not involved in outside of being on some Zoom calls. This week, he was absent, completely throughout the duration of the week. It's interesting. We asked him, what did you do? Is it true that you didn't watch the game last Sunday? And he said, no, I had it on GameCast, but I thought I needed to be productive while the Cardinals were in Cleveland. And he was studying game film for this weekend. He was studying the Houston Texans. So he said he's going to get right to work on Green Bay. He was dabbling, Chierstin, most of the week on the Packers and leaving he and his staff specifically at the team site in Tempe to focus on Houston. So Kingsbury's been trying to be proactive and working ahead, but you could tell he was exhausted, just given everything. He was frustrated, in good spirits, of course, with the victory. I tweeted out the Cardinal locker room erupted after the game. And I would think that has, by and large, the effect of Kingsbury returning. They were anxious to get their head coach back. But, no, he's made it clear. This week it's been really all about the Packers for him.
Yeah, Marcus Golden said that he would run through a wall for Cliff Kingsbury in his postgame media availability. Did anybody ask him whether it was part of the goal was to – because we talked about it all week long, and you guys talked about it this morning. Hey, run up the score here and get your starters out. You've got a short week coming. Did anybody ask Cliff if that was the goal of this game?
No, but I get the sense, Chierstin, that they are respectful of all their opponents. And, the Texans aren't very good. They've won one game. They've been competitive in some other games. And even today, like that first quarter, they took it to the Cardinals. They were blitzing Kyler Murray. The defense had a couple nice series. The offense is what it is with a third or fourth round rookie quarterback in Davis Mills. They're so limited from a personnel standpoint. I think the biggest thing was let's get a victory. Let's have it be convincing, and let's move on to Green Bay. Because, again, it's easy for us in the media, in the public to say, like, this is a win. Let's chalk it up. But, I mean, Houston's got professionals on their team. Everybody's making, a paycheck. Some of them big-time money in the case of David Johnson, Brandon Cooks. These guys have a lot of pride. So, I wouldn't expect Kingsbury to address that. I think he just wants to put this last 2-week period behind him, and I think he's proud of the team's efforts in the short term.
Anything else interesting? Did you talk to anybody else other than Cliff Kingsbury?
No, I rushed out here to come hang out with you guys. I know Marcus Golden was speaking. I'm going to come and hang out with Kyler Murray here in a little bit. Kyler did visit the blue tent twice. I thought it was interesting. Cliff Kingsbury was asked what his anxiety level was when he sees Kyler Murray entering the blue tent. And he said, I don't know, put a number on it. What's the highest it could possibly be? Basically saying that, yes, like all of us watching from the press box and at home, he too freaks out when Kyler Murray enters the blue medical tent. So by and large, Kyler's okay. We're going to hear him talk here in a little bit. Hopkins said he's a gamer. He's fine. But I think the biggest takeaway for me today was the fact that the Cardinals gave up a season-high 4 sacks against the Houston team as a relatively marginal front. And if you're Kyler Murray, I mean, they're 7-0, but they got 10 more games to go. The amount of hits he took, to Saul's point, you just can't have that over the course of the next 10 games en route to what we hope can be a lengthy postseason run here at State Farm Stadium. So they've got to get that figured out. I also think Kingsbury can be a little bit better with his play calling early on in games. The Cardinals had the running game whenever they wanted it today, and it took about 2 to 3 to 4 drives for them to realize that. And you saw the effectiveness of James Conner and Chase Edmonds. That has to be more prevalent early in games. And what did we see last week when they jumped out to that fast start against Cleveland? The audible at the line of scrimmage and Chase Edmonds taking it upfield for 40 yards on that first possession. They have to not get so pass happy. I think they can be the victim of their own circumstances because they are so talented, especially now with Zach Ertz at receiver, at pass catcher, that they want to throw every down. But they've got a plus run blocking offensive line and 2 really hungry, capable backs. James Conner, to me, what he's brought to this team from an inside run perspective, that run where he was completely just almost untouched, busting out from the line of scrimmage, getting those nasty yards on the inside. He has just been a phenomenal pickup for this team, making almost the vet minimum. Steve Keim's done a phenomenal job. This is, in my opinion, the most complete offense in football going right now.
James Conner already has 6 touchdowns on the season, which ties his total of all of last season. So he's been phenomenal. Jonny, we appreciate you, and we'll let you get back to talking with the guys.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
See you, bro.
Take care.
There you have it.
There you have it. I think he covered it all for us.
Johnny B got it, man. He knows what he's doing.
The only thing Johnny didn't do, which somebody was claiming that he didn't have the talent to do, but he does, Peter. He didn't give a Manscaped read, so
while so that's on you.
While you're here, you might as well go ahead and go to Manscaped and use their 20% code, which is PHNX, and save free shipping. You get free shipping with any purchase, and you can save 20%. They have all types of grooming products. I don't have to go into detail because it always makes Chierstin want to just leave the room. So they have shavers. They have lotions. They have body washes. Apparently, they have a foot spray too, which I thought was pretty cool.
Sure.
Because their stuff is high level. It smells good. It lasts long, and it just kind of refreshes the boys. And you want to make sure that the boys are always refreshed.
You know what Johnny is good for? He was saying it all week long that he was going to take the Zach Ertz anytime touchdown on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Mm-hmm. There you go. He won some money. And anybody who followed his cue also won some money today.
I won some money because I took the Cardinals in the over.
Nice.
Yeah, I did. I'll put that out there.
I thought Zach was going to have 2 touchdowns. And, of course, that little fumble at the end, if he would have got in, that would have been pretty sweet.
Also, Tua Tagovailoa, I hate you because he threw for over 259 yards today. And had it not been for that, I would have won my 5-team parlay or my 5-bet parlay within the Falcons Dolphins game, which would have netted me about $325. But you know what? Fuck it. There we go. Whatever.
Spoken like a true.
Whatever.
Well, Saul, that is your third F-bomb today.
Yeah, he doesn't have no problem with it. He's got a couple left in his back pocket.
Just like in college, I'm good for 3.
Did you play college basketball?
I did. I was asking you questions today. You weren't asking me, so
That's true.
You can learn more about me.
That is true.
On the next time.
All right. If you guys are not following us on social media at PHNX_sports, hit the subscribe button on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. And let's go ahead and throw up that T-shirt that we launched today once more. In case you weren't here with us at the beginning of the show, maybe we are just effing better. You can get that T-shirt up at phnxlocker.com.
Dope shirt. Like, I would wear that even if I wasn't a fan of the Cardinals.
You wear that at church. I know you would. I wear that shirt to church.
Oh, my God. You probably would.
It's a great church shirt.
Wear it at my wedding. What are you talking about?
Hello. That's a great slogan for the wedding. We're just having better.
Maybe we're just fucking better.
Right,
yeah, that's a good one, man.
Hello. Thank you.
Oh, man. Might be
yes, wedding planner, and I'll be the wedding singer.
Okay, no,
I think we're done here. I think we're done here. We will see you tomorrow.